Hi there and welcome along. The rose we're kicking off with today is an absolute stunner and something that I'm going to describe as being absolutely darling. This beautiful lady is Barbara Austin, actually named after David Austin Sr.'s sister. This is an introduction from the David Austin collection from 1997, still available here in the UK and widely available across other parts of the world. It is breathtakingly beautiful and has some really lovely qualities, heralding from that era of breeding from the David Austin collections. I'm going to start off with some basics for you. It's a repeat flowering plant reaching around 4 feet by 4 feet, so it's quite a substantial shrub. It is absolutely thornless. It is an absolute joy to handle. Although once cut, the blooms don't last very long in the house. You're only going to get about 2 or 3 days out of these before they shatter and fall apart. It is an absolute joy to actually handle. You can see from the stems there, nothing there at all. If I was to describe the actual thorn count on it, it has a very small amount of mossing. The thorns are absolutely tiny. They're minuscule. They're like hairs. Very easy to knock off. Very easy to just brush off between your fingers and your thumb. So it causes you no problems whatsoever. It's upright and twiggy in its growth, as you can see, so cuts really well and forms a plant very similar in habit to the Mayflower or to Susan Ellis Williams, which is another introduction from around the same sort of time. It's a scrappy and woody type bush that's very upright, not particularly attractive in its habit during the winter months, but produces these absolutely, they are darling. I don't think there's any other way for me to describe them. These darling, beautiful, very soft pink flowers with a really distinctive, we're seeing this cabbage eye coming through into new introductions from David Austin, including the Emma Bridgewater rose launched this year, but this lovely little cabbage like center in the center, which means the petals are curling back into themselves, very much like a chrysanthemum. The foliage is mid-green and very heavily textured. You can see the crinkling and texture on the leaf just there, with a very dark leaf axil and veins running through, which gives it a very distinctive sort of textured look. A rose very similar if you also grow one called eglantine, very similar in colour, very similar in its very soft pale colour. The buds are really beautiful. They're this most adorable apple blossom pink shade with a lovely apricot tinge and a slight sort of burgundy running up the very side of them. There is the very distinctive little flick off the top of the bud, which I always herald towards or note towards the David Austin breeding program, especially from roses coming from this particular age. It's a really lovely repeat flowering plant. It's one of the first in flower here in the garden this June. This is going to flower on and off now all the way through to the summer into the very back of August, producing, let's get another flower up for you, producing these absolutely darling beautiful open formed flowers. They're around 3.5 coming on to 4 inches in diameter, so they're fairly large, very ruffled, light pink, and I say that cabbage like center in the very center. The fragrance, it's very distinctive. It's old rose, so it's giving you all the romance you would expect from a rose with this particular look, but it's then mixed with other interesting tones. I'm picking up on Parma violets, I'm picking up on baby powder and lilac. It's a really very distinctive smell. I'm going to be rating this, it's fairly light, it's not particularly strong. I'm going to be rating this something in the region of about a 4-star with its fragrance review. That's 4 stars out of 10. It really is very distinctive and it's very beautiful. This particular rose is absolutely stunning. I'm really pleased to have this within the collection now. I say not one that's going to cut particularly well and bring into the house, although the stems are virtually thorns. You can see no thorns on these ones whatsoever. A repeat flowering shrub, I say, reaching 4 feet by 4 feet, creating a woody, scrappy, hardy little plant, which is perfect for growing in sun or partial shade, but one that is going to suffer, unfortunately, with a little bit of stress if it dries out too much, with a little bit of mold, a little bit of black spot. So do make sure you're paying attention to your watering with this particular plant. Make sure you're mulching it deeply, and if you grow this one in a container, make sure that you have a water retaining saucer underneath of it, and you're paying it close attention during the warm summer months. And if you can, maybe move it into a partial shaded location. But a really lovely lovely one. This is Barbara Austin, introduced by David Austin Roses in 1997. A really darling, very, very soft pink apple blossom white flower, nice and openly on its form. Fragrance rating is around a 4, very distinctive. So I'm picking up on all of those, what did this to say, these old lady smells, those things that are going to take you back to your grandmother's bedroom. So Parma violets, baby powder, lilac and old rose fragrance all mixed into one. Really, really charming and very darling little rose.